Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we are finally talking about Silent Hill 2 Remake. Before we get into the video, just wanted to say, apologize for the last couple days, haven't been able to stream. I've been super sick. You guys probably can tell even from this video, my voice feels like it's going in and out. So hopefully by this Wednesday, I'm feeling up to it and we'll be able to stream. It's in a few days from now. I should be feeling better. Big shout out to everyone that does subscribe to the channel, likes the videos. You guys are freaking awesome. We're over 4,000 subscribers, so big shout out to all of you guys for the love and support. You guys are freaking awesome. But just a quick reminder, we do typically stream every Wednesday at 7 p.m. as well as Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. So make sure that you guys are subscribed so that you can be notified whenever we go live. And without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. So Silent Hill 2 Remake, I haven't actually played any of the original Silent Hill games. This is my first time ever even playing Silent Hill 2. The only other game that I've played that was Silent Hill was one that came out a little bit earlier this year, which was a short message, Silent Hill: A Short Message, and that one was kind of bad, if I'm being honest. I wasn't really vibing with it. It did have some scary parts to it, like the monster was scary and everything, but just like the story overall, I just wasn't really feeling it. But story here was really great. I loved unraveling the story and what is going on with this world. So the game starts off with James getting a letter from his dead wife. His wife has been dead for 3 years, so he's like, yo, that's kind of weird. So he goes to Silent Hill to basically see if his wife is still alive or not. And that's kind of where the events start, is right as we get to Silent Hill. I won't spoil like the story or anything here, but I really did enjoy piecing it together and just kind of discovering all this stuff the same time James as the character is, because a lot of this stuff is just like trauma that he's had that he's just kind of pushed to the side and pushed to the back of his memory so that he doesn't remember it. And seeing him slowly remember things that he's done is really cool and unnerving. A lot of the characters are also really great. I think all of the voice acting was really well done. Maria was really great. I always felt like that there was something going on, like she had ulterior motives. So all the characters I thought were really great, really well voice acted. Same with James, the main character you play as. I think all of the facial animations were also really well done as well. Moving on a little bit to the combat, which is something that I quite enjoyed. It's very similar to a lot of the other horror games where you got like a melee weapon, you got your pistol, shotgun, and then you get a rifle. So it almost seems like that's pretty standard for most survival horror games, and it's no different here. Everything it's survival horror, so there's like very limited ammo, very limited healing items and whatnot. And I thought the combat itself was great, although the melee attack was a little stiff. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it did feel a little weird. Like the way that James smacked the enemies, it just seemed weird. I don't know if that was intentional to be like off-putting or not, but it just seemed a little bit weird how he would melee people. But other than that, like I thought the combat was fine. It was very typical survival horror. The enemies I thought were really well done. I think they all looked super creepy. Big thing with Silent Hill 2 is that it's a lot of bodily horror. And they all look like women, to be honest, other than Pyramid Head. But it's like the two legs that are stitched together that are wearing heels. It's that one thing that's got like looks like a corset or something, but it's like zipped all the way up their face. And all the enemies looked really creepy and really horrifying. My only gripe is that I wish that there was a tad bit more enemy variety. I felt like I encountered those ones that spew the poison at you more times than any other enemy. Like you encounter some of the nurses, and then there's even a nurse that's got like a knife instead of a pipe and whatnot. And there is even a time where you do fight Pyramid Head himself. Those are more boss fights though, but I think just the standard enemies, I wish that there was just a little bit more, because I felt like I fought like the same like 3 enemies kind of over and over again. That one, plus the one that was like the 2 legs that kind of hide up in the corner and they basically kick you in the face. Actually, those were probably most of my deaths were from those ones, because they always jumped out of nowhere. Overall, I thought the enemies were great. They looked really creepy. I just wish that there was a tad bit more. Kind of on that same topic, the boss fights that we do have, there's not very many, but the few that we do get were really well done. They're super creepy, super horrifying, and just like the enemies, they're like bodily horror, so everything looks like stitched together. It looked like basically some of these bosses look like that they were cut up and basically stitched together. There's like the one that's like 2 bodies inside a door thing. Like, I don't know, I'll put them up on screen. They're all like super terrifying and scary. Same with like Pyramid Head. There's a few scenes where you fight him or basically run away from him, minus like towards the end where you fight 2 of them, which is really unnerving. But along with the boss fights, and this kind of pertains to the enemies as well, is that everything just felt really easy. I did die quite a few times, but I feel like most of my deaths were all accidental deaths where I didn't think I needed to heal, where I'm like, okay, I can kind of get past not healing, and then one of those like things would jump out at me and basically kick me in the face to death, right? And so, but when I'm actually fighting the bosses, like I didn't die to any of the bosses pretty much ever. I was able to get through almost all of them first try. Even like the final boss, which was a little bit more difficult, like there's no health bars or anything like that, so you don't really know. But I just felt like the game itself was pretty easy. And I was playing on normal, so I guess I could always up the difficulty and see how it goes then. But just like the standard normal difficulty, how the game is normally supposed to be played, was, I felt, a tad easy, at least compared to other survival horror games like Resident Evil, Dead Space, and so on. One thing I think the game does excel at exceptionally well is the sound design. There are so many creepy sounds, so many things that like lurk around the corners, and like you have your little radio, so it kind of alerts when enemies are near, which I felt like just made me more stressed than having them just jump scare me, because I'm like, okay, I hear the noise, but I don't see the enemy. I'm like looking around and I can't find it. All of the, just like the atmosphere, that's one thing that Silent Hill 2 does really well. It's just the whole atmosphere of the game is just really well done. I was creeped out pretty much the entire time. Although I will say I don't think it was as scary as some of the other survival horror games. This one I feel like was a little bit, they don't rely so much on jump scares. There are jump scares for sure, but overall very creepy. The survival horror aspect and everything was really great. Like I mentioned, the sound design was really well done. And that kind of goes to the, since we're talking about it, the levels themselves were really great. The hospital level was one of my favorite levels. The labyrinth was also really well done. Doing all the different puzzles to try to get to the new areas, finding all the different, coins and statues and moving them around. And even there's one where you have to like pull these hanging noose things or whatever to try to get the right one so that you drop down in the right one. Because if you don't, you keep dropping down in a bunch of enemies. Super cool. With that though, you do get to meet Pyramid Head a few different times, and maybe this is just my expectations were a little bit, I don't want to say high, but like misunderstood. I thought Pyramid Head was going to be very much like Mr. X, where you're inside the police station or whatever, and he basically follows you around the entire time. And so not only are you trying to figure out the puzzles and get to the next area, but you have this dude that's literally chasing you that will one-shot you. So I thought Pyramid Head was going to be very similar, and there are a few times where Pyramid Head does chase you, but it's really easy to get away. He's not fast at all. Even though he does bust through certain walls and whatnot, the dodge mechanic is super OP. And that's one thing that probably made the bosses really easy, is that every time something swung at me, as long as you hit dodge, and you can break the animations. I'll be like mid-swing and then hit dodge, and I'll swoop around, juke around to enemies' attacks and whatnot. But I just thought that Pyramid Head was going to be a lot more present. The times that we do see him was super terrifying and super crazy, but I just thought that we were going to see him just a tad bit more. And then, like I said, the boss fight where you fight two of them at the end was insane. And the last thing that I want to talk about is, and I've mentioned it a little bit already, is just the horror factor. A big survival horror game has to be scary. This one I don't think is as scary as some other games. I personally thought that Resident Evil 2 and like Dead Space, I personally thought that those games in particular were just a tad bit scarier. And like I said, this game doesn't rely as much on like jump scares, although there are some in there. There definitely are. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's more scary, but I don't know. It's just I wasn't as scared, I feel like, in this game, or horror factor. But the atmosphere is really great. The sound design is really great. The bodily horror is really great. Seeing like all the different things in the room and being like, yo, something crazy happened here, which I thought was really cool because you even see like these big old slashes and like cut marks on walls and floors and whatnot, where you see Pyramid Head had literally just like destroyed the walls and whatnot. So really cool. Overall, guys, my final thoughts on the game, I thought it was really well done. I was really surprised just because my first entrance into the Silent Hill type of games is the Silent Hill short message, and I, like I said, was not a big fan of that, and so I was a little bit skeptical. I've heard nothing but great things about the original Silent Hill 2, so I was super eager to jump into this one, and I was not disappointed. I had such a good time. Game was scary. The combat was great. I loved the story. I loved piecing together all the different things with James. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything. I do highly recommend you guys go out and play it if you haven't yet. If I was going to give this a number out of 10, I think that Silent Hill 2 Remake, man, I can't talk. Silent Hill 2 Remake is a solid 8 out of 10. I would highly recommend you guys go play it. Although there are a few things that I thought the game was a little bit easy. I wish there was a little bit, enemy variety, but I think the stuff that we do have is really well done. With that, guys, that's going to end my video for Silent Hill 2 Remake. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have played it. What do you guys think? How do you guys compare this to other horror games? I'd have to really sit and think about where I would place it. Survival horror is one of my favorite genres to play, and I'm actually kind of newer to the survival horror genre. I haven't played that many of them, but all the ones I do play, I really enjoy. So let me know down in the comments below, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will catch you guys on the next video.